Hi, it's Brett Elliott, medical herbalist, and today I'm here to talk to you about Candida. And I'm sure most of us have had some experience with Candida. It's a very common fungal yeast overgrowth, and the common name for it is thrush. And a lot of people experience that as either vaginal or genital thrush, as probably the first experience of having it. And that's an outer expression of the Candida, which normally lives on our body. It can live on the skin, it lives in the gut, lives on the mucous membranes, and it normally causes no problem. But when things are compromised, when the natural state of balance in the body is compromised, the Candida or the yeast can start to grow and get out of control. So the normal one that we hear about is called Candida albicans or albicans. But in fact, there's over 20 different varieties of Candida. And in recent times, recently they've been called a superbug in the hospitals because the Candida has gotten out of control. And with the recent pandemic in 2019, 2020, COVID-19, they've found that the death rates have increased dramatically in hospitals with patients that have got Candida overgrowth. And Candida can actually be responsible for a lot of the respiratory problems that lead to the death of these patients. So it's a really important thing to keep Candida under control in your body. So one of the most common reasons we get Candida or experience an overgrowth of Candida is after taking antibiotics. And so you're probably quite familiar with that. Normally the doctor might say after you've had some antibiotics, take some probiotics to put good bacteria back into your gut. So that's very important because what antibiotics do is, of course, they kill the good bacteria as well as whatever other bug you might have going on, and knock all those good bacteria out in your gut. And what happens then is it makes available a lot of empty spaces. And I call these parking spaces. So you can liken it to, say, going into a car park building or something like that and looking for a parking space. Well, in your gut, which is where most of these microbes live, you've got trillions of parking spaces. And so each little microbe has got to find a space to live and grow and populate. And so after antibiotics, of course, you've wiped out a lot of the good microbes in your gut and you have a whole lot of empty parking spaces. And depending on the state of your gut and what's there, the Candida can just take off. And that's why it's so important to have probiotics after you've had a course of antibiotics. So under normal circumstances, your gut should be populated with a healthy mucous membrane, which has got hundreds of thousands of different types of microbes that live in your gut. And what you need to do is keep those at a high population so they take up the parking spaces. And the easiest way to do that is to feed yourself with prebiotics and whole foods, plant-based foods, high fiber foods, fruits and vegetables, and also foods that are anti-inflammatory. So if your gut becomes inflamed, then the mucous membrane becomes compromised. And that can happen if you have a lot of acid-forming foods. So particular acid-forming foods are things like meat, eggs, nuts, cheese, beans, legumes, pulses, seeds. So things that are hard to digest and cause inflammation. They've either got lectins on them or they're high protein foods that form a lot of acid build up in your body. They load your body with acid and cause a lot of inflammation. And so if you get the acid and the inflammation going on in your gut, then it's likely that you're going to start knocking out the good microbes because they're going to be starved of good nutrients that they need. So you want to feed your body with whole fiber plant-based foods and lots of herbs and spices and things that actually feed a good gut microbiome. And the other thing you can do is have natural yogurt. So yogurt's high in obviously lactobacillus, acidophilus, bifidus, and those good bacteria that your gut needs. So you can do that. You can also do probiotics, and I suggest the good one that we've got available on our website, L-Reuteri. Take a high dose, and I recommend getting probiotic capsules and mixing them into yogurt and even leaving them in the hot water cupboard overnight. So you get a huge growth of the probiotic bacteria, and then drink that in a smoothie. And you can do that during the detox program or the cleanse program that we offer, which also contains all the herbs which are really good for restoring a healthy gut, gut lining, gut wall, gut microbiome, and digestive system. And some of those herbs include things like aloe vera. Aloe vera is very good for healing the gut, soothing and healing the gut. Golden seal. And golden seal is another thing. Sometimes if you've got chronic long-term candida or thrush outbreaks in the body, is to do a short course of golden seal in a high dosage. So I usually give my clients either 100 or 200 ml bottle of golden seal and say, just take a high dose for 7 to 10 days and really knock back the candida, and then introduce the probiotics and the yogurt and the whole food and the herbs and spices, and also do the ultimate herbal detox, get the bowels cleansed and the liver cleansed, and really establish a good gut microbiome. And that's the way to really get things under control. So just a couple of other things lastly before we leave is some other good immune building foods. Mushrooms are extremely good. And you'll often see people say, oh, don't have mushrooms because it's a fungal, and that's not true. What mushrooms do is they build your immune system. So mushroom soup and with garlic and onions, an extremely good immune building tonic food. And you'll find a recipe for that mushroom soup on our page, on our website as well. So have a look at that. And the other thing that's really important is good fats. So really good fats will help to soothe and heal the gut lining and reduce inflammation in the body too. And the best one, the one I suggest, is coconut oil, because coconut oil's got an immune building acid in the fatty acid in the oil itself. But it's an extremely good immune regulator and healer for the gut. And even coconut cream. So you could use a lot of coconut cream, make some curries, some coconut curries, and build those into your diet as well. And the last but not least is the probiotic implant, which you can also do with an enema kit or an enema bag or a colonic kit. And what I suggest doing there is what I talked about earlier, which is get some probiotics and mix them into yogurt and brew up a litre or more of a probiotic yogurt liquid, and water that yogurt down with water when you need to use it as an implant. Put it in the enema kit or an enema bag and implant that into your bowels. And that's if you've had really chronic long-term candida. That's the last resort, but it does work, and I've seen amazing results with that. So have a look at the information on this page and around this video, and click some of the links, and you'll see the research to the things I've talked about. I hope that's been helpful, and I'm sure you can find a solution to any candida issues that you've had by following this advice. Thanks again.